What do you think are essential qualities for finding a job at the moment, and why?
I think the essential qualities are that you really do need to be hardworking, committed, understand where the economy is at the moment, and realise that things aren't quite as easy as they used to be. So we've all got to put in a bit more of an effort, I would think, at the end of the day.
That's a good question. I think can-do attitude is definitely a good thing. Knowing languages, especially if you are from a non-Anglo-Saxon culture, I think knowing English actually is quite useful. But the can-do attitude makes a big difference.
Good communication skills. Got to look the part. Can't just be turning up for interviews in jeans and scruffy tops and things like that. To know a little bit about the job that you're going into. So if you're going for an interview, know a little bit about the company, just so that you've got a general idea as to what that particular company does.
Do you think it's important to plan for the future? Why? Why not?
It's very important to plan for the future, otherwise you'll find yourself in a bit of a muddle, I suppose, something I haven't personally done and I keep meaning to address. I think I'm probably from the generation where we spent before we thought. Now, I think we're all going to suffer a bit at the end of the day.
I think it's important. I think we live in a generation where people don't make enough money just by working like probably my parents did. I think it's important to think about investments and things like that, honestly. So I think it's important to plan for the future.
Yes and no. Yes, in terms of, figuring out what you want to do in terms of work, making sure you have the right qualifications for that. Saving obviously is important, but I also think that it's important to not focus so much on the future and also learn how to live in the present.
I think it's important to plan for the next 2 years, but beyond that, it seems a bit of a waste of time to me.
Which invention of the past 20 years has had the most impact on your life? In what ways?
I think it would have to be some sort of digital technology, really. The internet, mobile phones, digital technology, communication. I mean, just the way it's a complete shift to how we used to communicate and meet compared to 20 years ago.
Well, lots of things, but I do have an iPad, and that's had quite an impact in that I can look up things very easily. I don't have to go to the computer and switch on. I've got my iPad.
Probably from my own point of view, travelling around London, the Oyster card, which is basically a smart card you tap into underground stations, go through the gates, it automatically opens, it charges you the right fee, and it just makes things a lot easier than buying a ticket.
Google Maps. I live in London and I have no spatial awareness or sense of direction at all. So Google Maps for me has been an absolute lifesaver.
Can you describe a working environment that would make you more creative?
Yes, I would like to have actually a small tea shop, and so I could bake and decorate cakes and things like that. That's the sort of thing I like to do.
I think, from my point of view, somewhere like Hawaii, where you're out in the open, you've got beautiful scenery and just generally a great place to be.
Yes, I think one, I want to say with lots of colour, and I think one where it's just not necessarily arranged in the usual way, with desks and rows of chairs, but creative spaces. I think use of space is really important.
I think I work in a very creative working environment because I work in an office, but we're on a 50-acre site in the middle of a forest, and you can go and take lunchtime walks and go and feed the horses and the sheep, and it's beautiful.
Would you describe yourself as very organised? Can you give an example of why or why not?
I think I'm not an organised person. For an example, I just decided to come to London yesterday and I booked my ticket yesterday, so I'm not organised.
I would say I am organised sometimes when I need to be, but there are things that I'm not always organised about. It depends on priorities. I'm a teacher, so I have to be organised to do my job well. So the sort of things I have to organise, I've got to think about what the boys have coming ahead of them the next 12 months. So I've got to plan for that. So it is important, but sometimes I think it's also good to be relaxed about things.
I work as an account manager at my job, and so I do have to be organized. I look after many clients, and so we have to be organized. So I create folders and then subfolders. I take notes. I have reminders in my Outlook calendar, little prompts that remind me that I need to do certain tasks for either my clients or for myself.
Not really. I like to think of myself as just being able to do things right on time, so I'll often leave booking a flight or a holiday till the last minute, which annoys my girlfriend quite a lot.
What does your workspace look like? And are you neater at work or at home?
My workspace is a small back room. It's a jewellery workspace. And no, it's pretty chaotic, but I am tidy and well organised at home in my normal life. I like to know what I'm doing for the day when I wake in the morning.
Oh, I think I'm neater at work. We have a policy to not have any papers on the desk. So my desk actually looks quite clean.
Unfortunately, my workspace is a bit cluttered. I wish I could be neater at the office than I am at home. At the moment, I have a busy work schedule, so I have stacks of notebooks piling up on my desk, and I do need to do shredding.
I think I'm neater at both places, because you've got to be so careful in a workplace with data that you can't have a messy desk. And not just because it's aesthetically important, but because of confidentiality, etc. So that's important in the workplace, having a neat working environment. And at home, I think if I leave things, if I leave a mess at home, then my wife's at me, so I've got to answer to her.
Can you describe an important or traditional ceremony or cultural event in your country?
The country I live in is the United States of America, and an important cultural event there is Thanksgiving, and it's something that I experienced for the first time 4 years ago, and it's lovely because it's like Christmas but without all the presents. You just get to eat food all day long and be thankful for what you have.
In Scotland we have a traditional ceremony at Burns Night in January, celebrating the work of Robert Burns. It's the only ceremony or celebration where you will have people doing an address to the haggis, which is a poem all about the stomach of a sheep.
Yeah, I think obviously the Notting Hill Carnival, central to London, one of the biggest carnivals in Europe, and one that it attracts a lot of people too. And I think it's a colourful event.
Have you ever taken part in a ceremony or event? If yes, how did you feel? If no, would you like to?
Yes, I've taken part in many events. I used to work as a wedding coordinator and planner, and it's a wonderful experience to work with people from the beginning when they're planning their wedding day right to the end, where you see them with their friends and their family celebrating this wonderful day, and it's very emotional and it gives you a great sense of satisfaction.
Part of what I do involves playing at lots of events. In Scotland we've played at lots of ceilidhs and celebratory dances, so my job is fantastic. I get to be a huge part of the music and the dancing, and it feels fantastic to make people's evening enjoyable.
Well, I obviously have. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been married. Is that a ceremony? I've taken part in a traditional. I was married actually. I had a traditional gaucho wedding in Argentina with gauchos and a big what they call asado barbecue traditional, and that felt very nice.